On this YouTube channel, I spend a lot of time debunking popular cliches in sport and fitness. And today I'm back with another video, but this time I will be focusing on a single widespread stereotype and digging a little deeper into it. Let's talk about the impact of weight training on athletic performances. If you work with athletes or if you're one yourself, then you already know that developing physical qualities is essential. Strength, speed, endurance, power, explosiveness, mobility, the list goes on. And depending on the athlete, the sport, the goal, the requirements, you'll have to create a plan to develop the right qualities. And most of the time, that plan will include some form of weight training. And that's when we run into one of the most common myths out there: weight training makes you slow and kills your athleticism. Let's break that down, and to do it right, we'll go back to some basic anatomy and training principles. Your body contains different types of muscle, but when we're talking about weight training or strength training, we're mainly referring to skeletal muscle. These are the muscles attached to your bones via tendons, and they're responsible for movement. For example, when you bend your elbow, it's because your biceps has been contracting. Since it is anchored in your forearm and shoulder, this contraction pulls on the bone and causes movement in the joint. This is true for every voluntary movement, so when you're training these muscles, you're basically improving your ability to move. Now, here's something most people overlook. The line between weight training and sport performance is much thinner than you might think. Whether you play football, run track, dance, box, or do any other activity, you're using your muscles to produce movement, which means you're also working them, even if indirectly. The key difference is the goal. In weight training, the goal might be strength, power, or muscle development. In sports, the goal might be performing a routine, winning a match, or beating an opponent. But both rely on the same fundamental systems: muscles, nerves, and movement patterns. Let's think logically. Athletic qualities, strength, power, speed, or anything else are all rooted in movement. Can you move quickly? Can you sustain that movement over time? Can you generate force through a wide range of motion? All of this depends on how your muscles function. Take speed, for example. You need muscles that can contract quickly and generate high amounts of force. That requires not only neural efficiency and technical skill, but also strong, well-prepared muscles. This logic applies to every physical attribute. So if you want to improve your athleticism, you need to develop the muscles responsible for movement. In other words, muscle development is not optional, it's essential. So why does this myth exist? Let's clarify a few things. This stereotype that lifting weights makes you slow or less athletic usually comes from two common misconceptions. And the first one is weight training equals bodybuilding. Many people assume weight training is just about gaining muscle mass, which might be true for people focused on hypertrophy like bodybuilders or gym goers focusing on aesthetics. But hypertrophy training follows very specific principles that are not the same as those used to develop speed, power, or endurance. Plus, muscle mass can actually be useful in sports. 2. The ideal body type myth. Most sports have an ideal body type, depending on the role, the position, and the performance demands. That includes height, weight, body composition, and so on. So if an athlete only trains hypertrophy and gains a lot of muscle mass, then their body weight increases. And yes, at a certain point, even muscle mass can become a limiting factor, especially in activities with strict weight classes like combat sports, or in events where a smaller frame might be advantageous like horse racing or long distance running. But these are specific cases, not the general rule. A basketball athlete, a football player, a sprinter can all benefit from added muscle as long as it's in smart amount. Here's the takeaway. Weight training is often misunderstood as just muscle building, but in reality it's the foundation for developing all physical qualities. Even cardiovascular performance is tied to a muscle, your heart. And just like any other muscle, it becomes stronger and more efficient through proper training, even if it's not a skeletal muscle. So don't limit yourself or your athletes because of outdated ideas. Instead, embrace all tools available and learn how to use them wisely. Weight training, when done correctly, is one of the most powerful tools for improving performance, preventing injuries, and unlocking full athletic potential. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, suggestions, or anything else, feel free to drop a comment down below. And if you want to contact me straight through my social medias, the links are in the description. I'll see you next Sunday, and until then, train hard, stay consistent, and never forget, make yourself proud.